A man is behind bars after being arrested on this street, possibly connected to several bike thefts across the city. He cut his own court appearance quite short.
Republicans won, but Democrats are claiming a moral victory in a North Carolina congressional election last night. I'm Laura Podesta. I'll explain why both sides say this is a good sign for their party.
Happy Wednesday, Southwest Montana. Just ahead of 6:30, Chet Lehman and Missy O'Malley with you. Matt has our forecast in just a moment. It's chilly. Find a jacket.
Yeah.
I'll give you a heads up of our top local story this half hour. A Bozeman man behind bars after police say he stole an expensive bike from a pawn shop.
According to court documents, Joseph Peary and two others went to Great Northern Pawn in Bozeman to sell a box of tools, only to leave with a high-end bike. He cut his own court appearance a little short yesterday. MTN's Cody Boyer was there and has more on some connected cases.
We've had multiple thefts of high-end bicycles.
It's a case that detectives say gets more and more bizarre. For them, it started months ago, before police say Joseph Peary walked into Great Northern Pawn on August 26th.
This looks like this has spanned maybe a couple cities, maybe even as far away as Butte.
Detectives say Peary went into the pawn shop to pawn a box of tools, two other people in tow. When he left, the employees noticed he didn't leave empty-handed. A bike, valued at around $3,800, was gone. I spoke with the pawn shop staff, who tell me they had fingerprints on the box, the bike's serial number, and Peary's name.
Serial numbers are very important. That way we can positively identify what these bicycles belong to.
Then on Monday, police saw the same black pickup leave the Wagon Wheel mobile home park. They followed.
Detectives say Peary started driving up Professional Drive back towards Main Street, where he stopped, pulled over alongside the road, reached for the bike, and as soon as they tried to confront him, tried to get away on it.
The individual who was taken into custody has been identified as taking a number of these bicycles.
According to the pawn shop, the bike he stole didn't have pedals. As for Peary's court appearance, it did not last long. Before the judge could tell Peary what punishment he could be facing, he flipped a table, cursed at the judge, and stormed off. We were the only camera in the courtroom to catch it. Detectives add there may be many bikes still missing and need your help.
Just encouraging anyone who has a bicycle that's missing, maybe that they didn't want to report stolen. Those things are important for us. Please call us.
Peary is expected to be back in court tomorrow and may face a contempt charge in addition to theft. Detectives expect more arrests to happen in the future. In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
So many things.
So many things.
You know what they call a bike without pedals?
What?
A lawn ornament.
Yeah, that's right.
So an escape lawn ornament didn't seem to work for him.
Yeah,
More to follow.
More to follow. More to follow. Yep.
Hey, looks like it's going to be not a great day to go ride a bike.
Especially without pedals.
Temperatures into the 40s. You know we're going to be called into the principal's office a little later today, right?
Could just go right now.
Yeah.
I'll sit outside.
Light showers out across the area. Nothing particularly heavy, but it will be damp as you're heading into the afternoon. Also chilly. Temperatures only into the mid to upper 50s. And of course, it does warm up later this week. We'll talk about whether we're actually going to the principal's office. Actually, we'll talk about our forecast, of course, coming up in just a little bit.
And I wonder what Matt's going to give his forecast grade today.
I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question. We'll see.
He's tough grading this year.
Yep,
Tough start.
that's
It's a
absolutely
tough
true.
start to the school year. For
Oh,
sure.
let's switch to politics, and this has actually been a really contested race. North Carolina's 9th congressional district has been held by Republicans since 1963, and it will be in GOP hands for at least one more term.
Yeah, conservative State Senator Dan Bishop eked out a victory over Democrat Dan McCready last night. CBS's Laura Podesta has details on what this might mean for 2020.
Republican Dan Bishop narrowly won a special election in North Carolina to become that state's next congressman.
Tonight is a victory shared by all who believe in the promise of America.
Bishop is known by many outside the region as the state senator who wrote North Carolina's controversial anti-transgender bathroom bill. In this election, Bishop tied himself closely to President Trump, who stumped for him Monday night in Fayetteville.
Get out and vote for Dan Bishop.
President Trump easily won this district in 2016. Last night, he called Bishop and spoke to him on the victory stage.
What he did tonight is monumental.
The special election was called after last year's race was voided by state officials. The Republican who won by just 905 votes was found to have benefited from voter tampering.
I'm running on fumes, y'all.
Democrat Dan McCready lost both races.
The people of North Carolina stood up, and we faced down the full force of election fraud and voter suppression.
Democrats remained hopeful in the narrow defeat, which showed they are still competitive in the suburban districts that helped them take over the majority in the House last year.
Trump won by 12, Romney won by 16. Conventional wisdom says we should not even be talking about this district.
In another North Carolina congressional special election last night, Republican Greg Murphy easily defeated his Democratic challenger. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
And election season there continues to move on. You see, the Republican victors won't have much time to celebrate. Their terms are up in 2020, so they'll have to get back out on the campaign trail real soon.
Wow. Bang pow.
There you go.
Yeah, no
Take a quick
kidding.
nap and you're right back at it.
Yeah,
there you
no
go.
kidding. Wow. And Gallatin County is the fastest growing county in Montana. We've talked about this a lot. And it hasn't had an update to its growth policy since 2003.
Yeah, the county is in the early stages of creating a new growth policy. It is coordinating community outreach events to get residents involved in that process. There are listening sessions scheduled for this week all across the county.
So it gives us a sense of what people value and what people like, and going forward, it helps us create policies that can help protect those things. So if people are really passionate about open space, we know that those are policies that we want to put into the growth policy document to help protect what people love.
Final growth policy expected to be adopted by late 2020 or early 2021.
And dozens of state attorney generals are launching an investigation into Google and its advertising practices. And it's not just the search engine that's being targeted.
Yeah, some of big tech's biggest names are facing antitrust scrutiny. Mary Maloney takes a closer look.
Going after Google, a bipartisan group of attorneys general representing 48 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, have launched a multi-state investigation into the search engine
to protect the American consumer from this online search engine juggernaut.
On Monday, 13 of those attorneys general made the announcement on the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court, criticizing Google for its billions of dollars in profits, saying web access may seem free, but it comes at a cost.
Is something really free if we are increasingly giving over our privacy information?
The probe will initially look into Google's advertising business, but it will likely expand. The attorneys are investigating Google for anti-competitive behavior, potentially harming both consumers and business owners that are highly dependent on online sales. Although the probe focuses on Google, other companies could be drawn in by the states either as targets of other investigations or to serve as effective witnesses.
Which is why this investigation is so important, that we absolutely ensure that even the biggest of big tech companies are accountable.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
Now, this investigation is not a lawsuit yet. However, if Google is found to have acted in a way that broke U.S. antitrust rules, the company could be forced to divest itself of parts of its business. So there is definitely more to follow on that.
More to follow, and this is a story we talk about all the time with Montana and suicide rates.
Yeah.
This is National Suicide Prevention Week.
MTN's Janelle Slade has the story of one family that's trying to break the stigma.
He was funny. He was a protector. He loved his siblings. He was a great big brother. He was my best friend. We grew up 2 years apart, so we're really close to each other. We did everything together, even if we were arguing, and then we'd make up. He talked all the time. He started talking when he was 9 months old, and he didn't ever stop.
That is, until 19-year-old Taylor Michael Campbell just couldn't talk anymore. He was diagnosed with attention deficit and anxiety at a young age. Taylor, his mom, and his sister survived domestic violence. And this popular teenager had a passion for football that added to those scars.
Due to football and concussions, started changing him, changing his mood. He seemed a lot angrier.
Once graduated, Taylor seemed on a solid path with the U.S. Marine Corps. But just as this Marine was headed to college, his history of mental anguish, alcohol, and a devastating breakup broke him.
We tried to get him help, unfortunately, in the mental health system. We just don't have enough providers.
Taylor did reach out for help at a Bozeman Crisis Center. He was assessed, given an appointment 6 weeks later, and sent home.
5 days after he made that appointment is when he passed away. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever been through because there's just certain situations where I wish I could just talk to my brother. And I mean, it's like a daily thing where I just think about something and I'm like, shoot, I wish I could talk to Taylor. Like, I wonder what Taylor would tell me right now. It's not selfish. When they're at that point, they're just in this tunnel vision. They're in this dark hole and they cannot see any way out of it.
That was just 10 months ago, and despite all the pain, Kimberly and Abigail say it's time now for them to share. And what they want people to hear is to listen.
Listen. Just listen to them, let them talk. Don't give advice. They need to listen and not tell them, you know, hey, look, you have this great life in front of you. Look at what you got for you. I mean, that to them, they don't see that. They see the pain that's inside of them and they want to get it out and they're asking for help. Just let them talk.
From hearing the pain to learning and seeing the signs, we can make a difference.
And maybe they won't talk, maybe they won't tell you, but you know, you're putting that out there and they know that that's there, and if they want to talk to you, they'll come up and talk to you when they're ready. Maybe if it means you pick up the phone to call for help for them. It's hard to ask for help, so when somebody does ask for help, don't make them feel bad about asking for help, because it's scary.
So step up, be brave for them, because listening to someone today could help them be here tomorrow.
The last thing in the world I want for somebody is to feel this pain and lose their best friend.
I'm going to give you a chance right here to go get a notebook and a pad. If someone you know is in crisis, you can text it. It's right there on the screen. Text MT, the letters MT, to 741-741, or you can call the hotline at 800-273-8255. You can also find more information on this story on our websites as well.
You know, there's that little bit of a meme going around that says it's okay to not be okay.
That's exactly right.
You know, and it's everyone goes through everything. You never know someone's full story.
Right.
And mental health can just rear its ugly head, and it's okay to ask for help.
Just listen.
Yep.
Help is out there.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. It is time for a quick break. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's take a look ahead on Montana this morning, as well as getting a glimpse of your headlines coming up at 7 on CBS this morning.